This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys. Good morning again. Yesterday we saw the number one, two, and three. Right? We created a sample Java project and created a simple program, simple class file, and then method. And then also we created two class files and saw how to call a method from the second class from the first class, right? So there are two objective of learning this particular way of creating class file and creating multiple class file, right? One, yeah, this is how typically programs are created. In our case, it's just one class, two class. In the actual application, if you see, there is going to be one package and there are going to be n number of class files. It could be 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 class file. That is what it is going to make a your enterprise level application. And you can assume that these class files are going to be, these methods are going to be some of the reusable components, where obviously a particular method is going to be called by other class files, right? So and whenever we are going to troubleshoot the response time problem or memory problem, every other tool, right, be it as an AppDynamics or JProfiler, everywhere, when we are going to troubleshoot the problem, when we are going to find the root cause, it is always going to say the issue started in this particular class file or in this package. From there, uh, the call went to this, and from there it went to this method, it went to this class file. So it is going to give you the hierarchy of, or you can say a waterfall view or an hierarchy or a tree view, explaining where the call got originated and where is a root, right? That is a tree view from top to bottom. So which means every tool is going to provide you that kind of a tree view, saying from this class to that class, this class to that method, right? So that is where this is also going to be important. So you need to know, it's as simple as in any program, um, there are going to be multiple calls from one class file. They are going to create an object for the second class file, and using that object name, they are going to call the method that are available in the your um, second class file. So this is how it is going to happen in the real application also. And when we are going to troubleshoot these problems, that is what you will derive as a root cause analysis. Okay. So this should not be new for you when we are going to troubleshoot the problem with JProfiler or with the AppDynamics. When the AppDynamics or JProfiler is going to say the response time is high for login, because login is the time is spent in some class file, and when we are going to double click when you're going to find the root cause, it will go and show somewhere down the line the called programs, the called class files, right? That is how every troubleshooting is going to happen, for response time or for memory leaks, right? So that is why the 2 and 3 mentioned here is going to be important. And though intention is to learn these things, eventually this is also going to help you in the correlating that with the root cause analysis. Okay. So next one, what we will see now is, so now we have just created a standalone programs, right? Now typically the developer needs to connect his Java program with Oracle, or it could be with MySQL or PostgreSQL, or it could be MariaDB, any of your SQL based database, right? So for that, if you wanted to do it by ourselves, right? What is that we are going to do? There are going to be multiple ways to do it, right? There are a lot of frameworks which can give default or out of box connections, and there could be a lot of ways to do it. One simple such a way, see, or even the framework is going to do a similar thing, right? From the actual implementation point of view, how are we going to connect to the database connection? If you go and search in the internet, right, as I said yesterday, it is all going to be a template based coding, and as per the requirement, you no need to scratch your head how to do it. If you go and search in the Google how to connect your Java program with MySQL server, you will get 10 or 5 options. Okay, and once you are good in getting those solutions, say for example, even in load runner, right? If you want to write some custom logic, or even if you wanted to fix some problem, if you go and search, you will get 3-4 suggestions. Though we need to pick the one which you think might be good. So that over the time you will get it. So similarly for DB connection also, if you go and search in the internet, um, you will get 3 or 4 suggestions, and you can just pick one, right? And again, all these DB connection or HTTP connections, all these algorithms, we're not going to write it from the scratch at all, right? There are going to be some reusable jar files created by open source community. That is what we are going to use it in the enterprise also, right? In the organization, there are 2 ways. One, you will um, you will use the jar files that is there available in the open source community. Just go and Google it. You can get it from the Maven, or you will get it from GitHub, any somewhere, right? You will get it for sure. Number 2, the custom functions or something very specific to your own application. Say for example, SSO login. Okay, every application will have a login, an LDAP based login or an single sign-on login. And if when you are going to work on say a checkout functionality, checkout class file, right, you no need to go and create all these login class file again. Somebody in your organization, you might have created a login functionality that they might have packaged it into a jar file. You just need to include those jar file into your application and use those class files, use those methods. That is what we are going to do it. For example, in our case, right, for connecting to a DB connection, we need a jar file. Okay, you will go and download that jar file from the internet. Whenever you're going to search for this DB connection, it is going to say we need to use this jar file. Okay, and you need to download the jar file from the internet, and then you need to just go and once you download it to your physical machine, you need to add that to your project, right? For example, where is my DB connect? Learning SRC, learning. Okay, yeah. So I'll go and right click it and go to the build path. Okay, and then do a configure build path, and you need to add your external jar file to the class path. Okay, so what we are saying is when your project is going to get compiled or executed, it will add your external jar file and it will add it to your overall project, so that whatever methods you are going to call inside your program will be referenced from this jar file. Okay, so uh, for any external jar file, any file which you download from the internet, or when you're going to get it from your other teams, or say for example you are going to create a jar file which can be used by other teams, they will also do the same thing. They will come to their project and then go to the configure build path. Under the libraries, we just need to add the external jar file. Okay, so in my case, yeah, so I have just downloaded this and adding it. Say for example you need to create a Selenium script, for an example I'm saying, right? And the Selenium script, for Selenium you need to have these driver related jar files, all the Selenium related jar files. You need to go and download these Selenium jar files. Okay, and then you need to add those jar file to the particular whatever separate project you might have for the Selenium. In our case, we are going to connect to a database. For that, we need MySQL connector Java. Okay, so I'm just saying open. I'm just okay. It is a duplicate. I'll just remove it one more time, and then just one time once you added, say apply, and close. That's it. Okay. So you're going to save it, and then now you added it, right? So there are a couple of import sections are there. Forget about it. Probably we will go and even comment it, because we will not know what are all things to be imported, right? So we'll just go and okay. So now if you see, um, I have created a new class file called dbconnect and created a main method. Okay, so inside that again there are going to be set of lines. So since we are going to use the external jar file, we're not going to write any code from the scratch, right? So we need to call the method from the whatever available in the jar file. Okay, so once you search in the internet, there are going to be 2 3 4 lines of code that you need to just copy it and then use it in your program. Always we are not going to write it from the scratch. Not only you and me, everybody, right? 80%, 90% of them are going to get the recommendation, get the code from somewhere from the Stack Overflow or some other blog, and they're going to reuse it, right? Hardly people are going to create their own code 20% only, and whenever there is a specific requirement. Okay, otherwise it's all going to be reusables, absolutely reusables, because in IT there is no need to rediscover or go and do it from the scratch. It's a waste of time, obviously. What we need to do is smart enough to pick what is the optimal one, what is the best one that will fit for our requirement. Okay, so in this case it's a straightforward db connection. You will get in the Google saying you need to just create a connection object, and then you need to go and establish a connection to your database. Okay, dot get connect. If you see here, it is giving an error. Okay, so it says driver manager is not available, imported class file. Okay, java.sql is something we need to import it. It is automatically giving this suggestion because we have added a jar file to this project, and in the jar file there are a set of class files available. In that it is saying, so you have added a code but you're not added an import. You can just go and click this import. Okay, and then there's an error here. It says import the connection. So you can go and import the java.sql.connection. That is also fixed. So which means that once there are two things. One, you need to go and include the jar file in your build path. Second, you need to specify what are the your exact your packages which you need to import. Java.sql.connection, Java.sql.driver manager, all these things are important for you to run this code. Okay, and you don't need to worry about what are all things that is there in the jar file, what are all things I should import. That you don't need to worry about it, because in Eclipse you will get suggestion, right? Similarly, say for example, if I'm going to comment this, okay, again this is a set of command to insert a row into the database, right? So I'm using a prepared statement where I'm preparing this insert into e-librarian, name, email, password, mobile, and I'm passing this value, right? And then I'm executing this execute update. So this is a set of line of code. You will get it in the Google if you go and search how to insert a new row for a database. You will get 2 or 3 suggestions, whichever you think that is good, you will go and use it. Okay, but if you see, when I copy it, I just giving an error. Again I'll go and look for a suggestion. It will say import. Just go and give this. Okay, so it got imported now, and then it gets fixed. Okay, so that is how the basic steps are. One, to include the jar file, and second is to go and include the set of 3 4 lines. That's it, right? We're creating a connection, and we are providing the URL and your database name and database password. Okay, and then we are trying to establish a connection, and then preparing a statement and inserting it. Okay, and then once it is done, we are closing the connection. Okay, that's it. So once this is done, then let's go and just run it. Okay, it is giving an exception. Connection refused. Java.net.connect exception. Communication link failure. Okay, so let me go and check the MySQL is running. Okay, MySQL is not running. Let me go and start it. While you install the MySQL server, right? Again, it is going to be very easy. Just I given the link to download it. You just download it, and then while you're going to install it, right? It will ask. It will ask you to create a database and then ID and password. Okay, just note down the ID and password whatever you give it initially, so that you will use that in this whatever we are going to connect it. Right? You need to give that name. So please make sure that you note down your user ID and password and whatever database you're going to create. This is a database and default the MySQL will run in the this 3306 port. So while you installing it, you note down the port. It will say it will listen in the port and it will ask you to create a database. Note down that and then note down the user ID whatever you give, what are the password you give. That's it. That is what you're going to pass it here. Okay. So now the MySQL is started. Now we'll go and just see. I'll just go and run it. Successfully connected to the MySQL database test. Okay, so it came here. It gonna connected. It says it is connected, and it would have went and inserted it. Okay, so this is again a kind of a template based uh, program to connect to a database. Only three things. Any even not only for DB connection, right? As I said, for Selenium, let me check if I have this Selenium code. Yeah, I think this is the one. Okay, so this, if you see, this is the I think we'll see this sometime maybe after 1 2 weeks whenever we are going to learn the client side performance, right? This is a very simple program to get the client side response time from a Selenium. Okay, just using this Chrome driver and all these things. Okay, and this one will require a jar file. Say for example, if we go up, I have imported org.selenium, org.openqa, all these drivers, right? For all these things comes from the driver from your jar file called the Selenium server standalone. So if you go and search in the internet, I wanted to create a simple Selenium Java script, it will say go and download this jar file and then import these 4 5 packages to your program and then write this program. So that is how you will add the external jar files that you download from the internet or you get from the other team and then use it. Okay, so now if you wanted to give a jar file to other teams, right? How do you do it, or the other teams how they do it? Okay, so let me do that. Okay, so I'll just take this learn test as a package. Okay, so you just need to right click it and then export it, and then there will be two options here. When you export, right, there will be two options. uh, Java, under Java, there is a jar file or a runnable jar file. Okay. Difference is the runnable jar file can be directly executed over the command line. Okay. A jar file cannot be executed directly from the command line, but it can be referenced by the other programs like this java.sql.connection, all these things, right? Those cannot be directly executed in the command line, but that can be used by the other programs. So there won't be any main methods inside the those jar file. Those would be a standalone class file which can be referenced by other programs. So whenever you wanted to export it, if you think your jar file will be directly executed, you can create a runnable jar file. Okay, if you don't create a runnable jar file, they will not be able to execute it in the command line. Say for example, I am creating a runnable jar file. I'm saying next, and then I'm just going to give the path where it will get exported, and they'll say just say finish. Okay, okay, yes. So now, okay, I'll just go to that folder. Okay, and then from there, I'll open CMD. So here I'll say Java. 1. -jar http.jar. So this is a command to run your jar file from the command line, java-jar, and followed by your jar name. When I run it now, it is running and printing some console. It is done doing something. I'll say what it is doing. But once you executed it, it is running something and it is giving an output. Okay. So this is how you create a runnable jar file and then run it. But there are going to be cases where it no need to be executed directly. They will be using it as a reference, like what we did with the your DB connection, right? Here we just added to the build path. So if you want your jar files to be used inside some other main application, we can just export it as a jar file. Okay, that is the difference between the runnable jar file and the jar file. Fine. So this is one. So let's go to the. Okay. So we saw how to create a class file with DB connection, adding a external jar file, and then import. So what is the situation to run jar files in real time? See, there are. See, obviously, whenever we are going to create programs, right? It has to be executed, correct? See, it could be if it is going to be an web-based application, we are going to create a war file and it is going to get deployed in a Tomcat. If it is not going to be war file, a web application, if it is going to be a standalone application, right? And then it has to be executed for whatever reasons. It could be any use case, your batch programs, or say for example JMeter, right? JMeter as a software, it is a thick client, right? It is it is not a web application, correct? And JMeter is itself a jar file. That is an answer to you, Rekha. So a software which has to be executed directly, you need to package it, right? And in order to run it directly, we are creating this runnable jar file. JMeter, if you go to that folder, let me go there, right? You will find the either exe or your jar file. See, Apache JMeter executable jar file. Okay, and our JMeter being a Java, somebody might have created a JMeter application like with multiple class files, and they might have created a runnable jar file, and that is what the Apache JMeter executable jar file is. Okay, so why do we create runnable jar file? To run it directly to in your mission from the command line. Okay, so that is why it is required. And if at all it is doesn't require to be runnable, executed as a runnable jar file, you can create as a jar file so that they can use it as a reusable functions, like what we used it in the DB connection.java. Okay. Like a calculator, right? If you wanted to create a calculator jar file, you don't need to provide any code or any class file, right? You just provide a calculator jar file. When you're going to execute the jar file, it will ask for the number A. It will prompt you to enter it number A, and it will ask to what to do, plus or minus or division, and then it will ask for the B, and then it is going to provide you the A plus B or A minus B. So it's a very simple example. A calculator jar file, you can create and give to somebody else, and they can use it for doing the calculation. Like or it could be any use cases like jmeter.jar itself, right? That is why we create a runnable jar file. Okay. So next example, what we will see here is the class file with HTTP connection. Again, in real-time application, there will be lot of downstream services. Okay, you will have a main application, and the main application will go and call your downstream services. Downstream services could be your other Java services, or it could be a Facebook, it could be Twitter, third-party calls, LDAP servers. It could be anything, right? For a server to work, it might do something on its own, or it might go and call the mainframe. It will go and call the database. It will go and call the other microservices, third-party calls, like your Google or Twitter or whatever it is, right? There will be post notification. It will send some post notification to Slack channels, to your send email to your HTTP servers, whatever it is, right? So simple thing, from your main server, from your Java application, there has to be a HTTP connection, either get or post, to be done to your third-party service. Okay, and and that is one of the response time, um, performance heavy operation. Okay, always whenever you're going to make a connection, HTTP connection from your Java application to third party, there could be a lot of bottleneck, because a call goes from application A to application B through an HTTP call. There would be network latency. There could be a problem with the third party server, because of which your application might also get impacted. So that is also the reason why we are learning this basics of creating class with HTTP connection. This could be a problem in your real time, a performance problem, because there is going to be a HTTP call made from your application server. Okay, and the way we are going to create this HTTP connection is, again, it's very simple. We will go to this HTTP call.java. Okay, and probably even in your, if you have seen Postman or even in the JMeter or LoadRunner, right? When you wanted to it and do uh, a, a custom request, or wanted to do a web submit, web submit data, or web submit URL, whatever it is, right? Simple thing, what it is going to do is, it is going to go and submit an URL, and we will give the method as, probably the example is, if you created an web service call or API call in a LoadRunner or a JMeter, right? You will give the, what is the method, get or post or put, and then you will provide the user agent. Okay, user agent could be Mozilla or Chrome or whatever it is, right? And then you will provide a URL. Okay, so for you to reach any server, you need the URL, you need the method, you need the user agent. Okay, and since we are going to connect it from Java, we need to also write some code to establish a connection, to open a connection from your server. We need to open a connection, and then go and hit that HTTP call. For that, we need some set of code. Again, we need some imports. Okay, by default, the Java in this custom library, it already having the required packages, so we don't need to go and add any external jar files here. Already the Java itself has that inbuilt packages to make a connection. This we see java.net, java.io, all these packages are from the it's Java's custom libraries. Okay, just need to import these things. Again, if you don't need to write it on your own. Whenever you're going to copy these lines of code, right? We are saying, we are passing the URL and this user agent to this. We are creating class. You're getting an object for the new URL, and then we are creating an object for new connections, and then we are setting the method as a get, and setting the property as user agent. All these things are, don't worry what is what. Okay, all these things are required to establish a connection. Simple as that. Just a reusable 4 or 5 lines of code for connecting any third-party services, any third-party URLs, any HTTPS calls. You just need to use these 5 lines of code to connect it. Okay, so this is a get method. User agent, you are passing it from here, and then the URL is, you are passing it from here. You just need to pass it. Okay, I'm just saying Amazon. I'm just Amazon.com. I need to connect to the Amazon.com, and it's a get method. I'm just going to use the Mozilla user agent, and I'm just going to connect it. Okay, and then just going to run it. Okay, it says a response code as 200. So I'm printing the response code. Okay, say I'm just going to change it to this, and then run this. It might throw some socket exception, or some kind of an error saying it couldn't able to connect, because there is nothing called Amazon1.com. It will say java.net.connect.exception. Okay, in the real time also, in when we are going to test it as a black box, right? There's going to be a third party calls. A third party call is not responding, or if it is throwing out some timeout, you will get a similar exceptions. Okay, and whenever this HTTP call is going to make more time, you're going to also get your response will get impacted. Okay, your the main call, whichever would have called this HTTP call class file, would have reported high response time. But when you go into troubleshoot the problem, it will somewhere it will show the response time problem is with the this HTTP URL connection. Okay, when you're going to see the tree view, when a login is taking time, say for example, login is going to use this particular class file. Okay, and if the login is going to take time, when you're going to troubleshoot, it will eventually say it took more time in the HTTP URL connection to a third-party server. So that is also one of the troubleshooting which we will do it as part of the response time analysis. Okay, so more from our developer will make the HTTP call. They're just going to import few of those packages that is required to make a connection to the external internet connections, and then we're just going to make use of these 3-4 custom code, which is going to get the URL, get the method, get the user agent, and establish a connection, and then it is going to do the connection. And then once the connection is made, we are going to get the response code and then print it. Okay, it says 200, it will say 200. Okay, that is how you go and create these HTTP connections. Okay, okay, so similar to that, right? There could be multiple requirements, multiple use cases. We can create our own, as I said earlier, we can create our own requirements to read a file, to write a file, to read the XML, to read the JSON, right? Just to read it, write it. You can create your own requirement, simple requirement, right? You can create your own requirement, and then using this reference templates, right? If you go and search for the internet to read the XML, there might be an XML parser is available. To read the JSON, there are a lot of JSON reader is available. You need to just download those JSON jar files. You need to add to the build path, and then there will be 5 or 6 lines of code, which will go and open the file, which will go and read the JSON line by line, and then it will go and parse the required data in the JSON, and then you can read it and then use it for your whatever computation, or just reading it and then writing into a log file. Whatever you want, you can do it as per your requirement. You just need to follow that. If at all you are very curious in learning Java program, right? You can. That is how you need to practice. That is how you need to learn it, right? The book way of reading it, it may be a little late for us. We may not get time in our current work schedule. We will not be able to get time. Rather, this will also make you a little interesting also. Right away you go and start coding it, right? You will always be engaged. You'll always be interested in finding out what is what, right? You get the program from the net, you copy it, compile it. There will be a lot of errors for sure, and some days the error will not even go. It is there for 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, but that will be a little fun also. As and when you get a lot of problems, you'll go and search in the internet, you'll get a lot of solutions, and then eventually you'll learn a lot of things, right? Even if you get stuck, just come out of that and then just do something, some other program. You can, if you're stuck for 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, that's fine. I mean, if you won't get a solution, that is also fine. But as and when you just starting multiple programs, finding what is the available algorithm for that, that is how you will evolve eventually, right? We don't need to get expert, or we don't need to become a Java application developer. We're not going to do it. But once you start doing this, you will get a lot of confidence, and all these things are going to be useful for a performance engineering when we go and talk to the other teams. Okay, so now we saw the jar files, right? How to create a jar file. Jar file is for your standalone web application, not for your web application. All the programs, whatever we created, right? There is no web component. We are not creating any HTML pages. It's just a core Java is what we are creating. But when it comes to your web application, right, where we are going to create this kind of class files, but we'll also create the HTML files or JSP files, and then those JSP will speak to this class file internally. Okay, there will be a front end, there will be a back end. Okay, so that we'll just see. So whatever the e-library application is, what we are going to use it, I said, for our entire course, right? So if I go to this e-library, yeah. So if you see here, this e-library on top, it will have a symbol called web. Okay, it says it is a web application. Okay, so it will have the source similar to our source, and it will have a package, and inside the package you will have multiple Java files. So similar thing. So you will have a project. Inside that you will have a source. Inside that you will have the packages, three different packages. They have grouped three packages. One for your all your main Java files, your one which is required for your application to work actual functionalities, and this for the database connections. Okay, well, database insert calls, your search calls, update calls, delete calls, all these related to a database are available in this package, right? So this is a typical web application where your backend code is inside the src, and then in the web content, if you see, there will be lot of html pages. Okay, your index.html, your whatever you see it in the front page, right? That what those html library and html issue book form, admin login form, all these things will be available in the html. So that is how they you would have the structure. Whenever you go and create a web application, you will get the structure, and then you go and add your java file to this specific folder, and what the html you will add it to this specific folder. Okay, so assuming that a developer has created this java application, okay, and this code you will import. I have given the link to download this source code. You can download the source code and you can add it to your eclipse project. Okay, and during our course, what we will do is we will go and edit some of these files. We will go and change this admin login.java, or we'll go and include new class files like this memash, and then external call. All these things are the one I created, and these java files are there in the drive. I'll give it to you. You just need to go and copy that java file to this project. Okay, once it is done, we need to create a new war file, right? Because we are changing the code for this e-library application. Okay, so once we go and change this admin.login.java, we go and comment few things, we will go and add few things to create problems. Okay, once you do it and save it, you just need to go and right click it, your e-library, and that is how even the teams are going to do it, right? To create a war file, they're just going to go and export it, and this time they're going to export it as a war file. Okay, so you will see e-library, and you can just go and save in the e-library.war file, wherever you can directly go and save it in the Tomcat folder. Okay, in the Tomcat, there will be something called web apps. So if you open the Tomcat, right, Tomcat also you need to download it. Again, just an installable. You can just download it. You will get this folder, Tomcat folder. You will get it once you download it. Okay, in that you need to go to the all your war files. That will be one war file or two war file. Okay, I'll just delete it. You need to go and save that war file here. Okay, so I'll just go and save finish. Okay, I'm just going to extract the entire e-library application, and I'm going to extract here. Okay, now I will go and so in the bin directory there will be a startup. There will be a lot of other things like catalina.bat file will be there, and if you go to the conf, there will be a server.xml. All these things we will go and change it whenever we want to add additional threads or increase the memory, right? We will see eventually over the course we will see how to do all those changes. But for now, we just deployed a war file, just opening this bin folder, and then I'm just going to start the server. I'll go to the command line and then start startup.bat. It is going to start the Tomcat. And if there is no problem with the war file, you will say it is started and it is listening to a particular port. So once it is done, yeah, so it says 8082 port. It started in 8 seconds. So we'll go there. Go to this, yes. So it should work now. Okay. So that is how the teams are going to do a deployment. That again, from a deployment perspective, there could be a lot of ways people deploy it and do that depending upon the web server, right? But at least one way we should know. So from Eclipse, you can just export a WAR file into a Tomcat web apps folder, and then in the bin directory, there are going to be a startup batch files which are going to use it to start it. From our learning perspective, that is what we are going to do it. We are never going to do a changes to the code. We will save it in the e-library project in the Eclipse, and then create a WAR file, and then we will go and copy to the web apps folder and start the Tomcat. Okay. So that is what we are going to do it, repeat it for every other sessions whenever we are going to do the changes. Okay, we'll not go there. Fine. So before I think JVM architecture will start from tomorrow. I'll just take a pass now. If there are any questions, yeah, feel free to ask, or you just put it in the chat, or you can unmute and ask a question. We'll pass it for today, the session, and then we'll continue this from not tomorrow, tomorrow Saturday, right? From Monday.
Satish, whatever the code you are practicing here, that already shared with us, right?
Yeah, it is there in the drive. If you go and go to the Google Drive, you go to the Java sample, you will have this price.java, MySQL connector, demo2.java, HTTP test.java, demo one, DB connection, cart, all these things are available here. Whatever we saw today, the HTTP call, and then DB connection Java, and then corresponding MySQL connector, the Java jar file, all these things are available here. You just need to copy it to your Eclipse.
So as part of the after the connect with MySQL, so you have shown us this code, right?
Yeah, yes.
So to create the tables, that structure has to be created by us, so that the code already placed for any related to the C library table structure.
Okay, so coming to the e-library application, right? So for you to practice this DB connection, you need to have the MySQL database. Okay, that is, you need to install it. As you said, there will be a path, there will be a link you would have given in the sheet from where you can download the MySQL and just create a database and just create a user ID and password. Okay, with that you can go and execute this program. Only thing, it will go and you just need to create a database for called library while you're installing it, right? First time it will ask to create a library database. You can just say default library database is library. Okay, so which means it will get connected. Only thing is it will fail to insert for sure. It will say your insert. It will give some kind of exception for insert. Okay, and for the e-library application to work, this application to work, right? Where is it? Yeah, for this application to work, you no need to create the tables right away. Okay, because your login is not depend upon the your MySQL. It is no database. But for the other functionalities, you need that. Okay, so once you created a MySQL database, I will provide you. I think it is already there. There will be a set of queries. I'll provide you the data, this structure for each and every table, right? There has to be a table called e-issue book, e-librarian, e-book. These three tables has to be created in this way. Okay. So in the MySQL, if you go to the MySQL workbench, right, you can create the table easily. So if you are done with, see, basic things are you need to have these Eclipse, Java, Tomcat, and then deploy this WAR file or deploy this code, make it up and running. SQL part, you can once that is done, then you can look into the SQL, but because that is not a mandatory one, it is good to have it, because then only you will be able to go and view this view librarian, and then if there are any issue with the database, right, with that queries and all, that will be appearing in JProfiler or AppDynamics. So first to start with, you go and install the Tomcat, you go and deploy the WAR file, and then have your Java in your machine, and create this MySQL data, MySQL server. No need to create any tables for now. Just create this library database. Up to that point, you do it. Once you're done, then I will guide you through the creating those tables for everyone. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So again, in the drive, in the PE August, if you go to these here, you will have a WAR file. Where is it? Yeah. So these WAR files, you can go and deploy it. Okay. Or if you import the code into Eclipse, you can yourself also create this WAR file. Okay, so just to follow these steps, download the Tomcat, download the Java, set up your environment, and then once it is done, get this WAR file and deploy it, like whatever the way we did it. For practicing the Java program, you can download all these Java program from the Java sample.
So this WAR file, can we do it from the command line? Can we execute from the command line or Apache Dump? So this WAR file for the e-library, right? Once we download it, so we can access.
Yeah, you can download it. You just need to go and put it in the web apps folder, like this. To insert Tomcat, you copy to web apps folder, and then you need to go and start the server from the startup file.
Okay.
Okay, or just follow this today's video also, right? The whatever I have done it, you can just do it. My case, I generated a WAR file. In your case, you will download the WAR file from the drive. Okay, and in the sheet, I would have given the link for downloading the Tomcat or the Eclipse, all these things. Eclipse, setting up your Java, OOM, JDK, Tomcat, and this code, right? Whatever code I'm using it, you can download directly from this site. MySQL. Yeah. See, initially you might face some problem, right? When you install Tomcat, there might be some exceptions. It will come. Eclipse also some, but solve those errors, okay? Because that is when we will be able to go and set up this environment, even in the in your enterprise or in your customer page, right? When you're going to set up few things in your new machine, you will get a lot of errors. Even load in a JMeter also will have errors, right? So go and solve it. When you solve it, you will go and search it. You'll get a lot of other inputs that will be very useful. So think it as a challenge, and even if it's going to take time, go when you're going to set up this Eclipse or MySQL or Tomcat or Java, you will keep getting some unknown errors. Even if I'm going to do it in a new machine, I will also get errors, and I will not have a solution. I'll have to go and search in the Google, and eventually we'll fix it. But that troubleshooting is very important from the PE perspective. So we have to be open to troubleshooting, open to issues, and 5 out of 10 times will not get solution. That is still fine. That is how everybody does it. So we should be open to accept those challenges and accept those failures also. So don't worry about it.
So to access this e-library application via web, so we need to have Eclipse, Tomcat, Java need to be installed on machine, and MySQL has to be installed.
Yeah, MySQL is not mandatory. MySQL is even if you thought database also, this application will work. Yeah, you should have this Java, Eclipse, Tomcat, and that's it. Nothing else.
Yes.
Even Eclipse is all not required to start with, because if you're not going to work on the code, just need to download the WAR file. Then You just need Java, Tomcat, and the WAR file. 3 minimum things.
Oh.
And if you because if you were not at all going to change any code, right, you're just going to use my whatever I'm giving it to you, the WAR file. You just need to use Tomcat and the Java is enough.
Oh.
Okay. So others whoever have joined probably only today, right? If you haven't got a chance to look into the previous day videos, please look into the previous day's videos, and these are the topics which we are going to cover. And if you have any questions, right, please reach out to me today or over the weekend. Okay, so please go through the last 2 videos for getting a detailed walkthrough on what we are going to cover in the next 2.5 3 weeks. Okay, fine, guys. So if we please set it up over the weekend, right? Everybody who has registered, Saturday, Sunday, you have time. Please practice these Java programs, or at least set up these things in your mission. You have 2 days with you, and if you have any questions, right, just ping me, message me. I'll try to help you out whenever I have time. But please do set up this thing in your mission. Okay, fine, guys. We'll stop it now, and we'll meet again on Monday.
Okay, Satish. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye bye.